everyone. I had so many messages from when I went to the wave. People wanting to know how I did it, what it was like, and I had intended to write a blog entry, but it was becoming more and more like a chore whenever I would think about it. So it has been almost a year, and I just finally had the idea, why don't I do a vlog? It'd be much easier to just tell you what I did, how I did it, and give you my comments and thoughts on it. So let's get into it. First thing, I came across the wave. Like, I always knew that it was a desktop icon, or I had seen that photo before, but I didn't know where the place was. And someone had posted something on Facebook, and it was like this article about the wave, and it talked about how you go about getting tickets. So basically, it's like a protected site. They issue 20 passes per day for people to visit. They do 10 passes in advance through a lottery, and then they do 10 passes in person through like a lottery the day before for the next day. So this article was shared on Facebook, and I was like, oh, this is a real place. I really want to go. So I really kind of just Googled. I started researching it and found out that, well, someone had posted in a blog entry that you had a better shot of getting a pass if you went for a single pass. And so I told my friend, I said, hey, you sign up for double passes, and then we can each individually like do a single pass. So I signed up for a single pass, and you do it. It is 3 months in advance, I believe. 3 or 6. I'll clarify that in the description. But I think it's 3. So you pick 3 different dates, your first option, second, and third. And then it goes to the lottery, and they email you if you got it or not. The reason why you have a better statistic of going for a single is because say it's a group of 6 that wins the lottery up for the 10 tickets, and then a group of 3, right? Then they'll have 1 ticket left over. And so that no one's really applying for single passes. So your chances of getting that single pass is so much higher. And literally on the first time I tried, I got accepted for the second date that I chose. And then I was like, oh shoot, I gotta go to Arizona now. So I flew into Las Vegas because I used to live in Las Vegas, and it was a 2-hour drive from there. It was not far at all. And so I figured I could see my friends and then drive. I drove to Kanab, Utah. It might have been 3 hours. I'm sorry. This is like a while ago now. So again, I have to clarify that in the description. But I rented a car, saw a couple of my friends, and then I hit the road and went straight to Kanab. So I just picked up my Jack in the Crack, getting on the road. I have my rental, the new Kia Soul 2018. I love it. It integrates seamlessly with my apps. Here's my food. We're going to be headed to Kanab, Utah for my hike. I'm excited. So I'm about an hour from Kanab, where I'm staying. It's beautiful. I found a cheap little, like, not a hostel, but like a camp dormitory / hostel place to stay. I just wanted something cheap. I got there at like 8 p.m., 9 p.m. So I was just going to sleep that night, get up very early, and start the hike. So I went in June. It's very hot in the desert. As you know, you have to be prepared for the elements. So I was a little nervous. Stop it. Stop. Sorry. My dog is right here. She's like making noise. So the desert is very hot. So you have to be prepared for the elements. And I was a little nervous, but I was like, I can do this. I packed a ton of water. And again, I just was researching like what you need to bring if you're going to do a hike in the desert. And I had a backpack with just so much water. The thing was so heavy. And just decided I was going to do this. I would say that looking back on it now in hindsight, I probably wouldn't do it again as a single female. Which I'll get into the story later of like the actual hike. But I wanted to show you what they send you. So you sign up for the lottery, and if you win, you get this in the mail, which I believe this has your address on it, so let me just make sure. Yes, so you will get a big pink pass like this. This has to be attached to your exterior so that anytime a ranger in the park, they find you, you can show, hey, I'm valid. I'm one of the 20 passes to be here. So you get this. And actually, let me clarify too. There's two places. The wave is located inside Paria Canyon. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I think I am. Paria Canyon. And within Paria Canyon, there's Coyote Buttes North and Coyote Buttes South. So some people, I think, get confused because then they go and they sign up for the South, and that's not where the wave is. So the wave is in Coyote Buttes North, which is regulated by the passes. So FYI, make sure you sign up for Coyote Buttes North. When you go to that website to sign up, all the information is there. They even have a video for you to watch, so you really need to pay attention to it. So you get this in the mail, and then they send you some maps. I saved all of this because I intended to write this blog entry. So sorry for the condition, but you get this map, and they literally have like pictures. I'm sure this isn't in focus, so I'll try to just stick some pictures in here. But they have pictures on here that give you markers as far as how to reach the wave. There's no real trail that outlines it, so you can get lost, and it's kind of scary because there's stories of people who died on the trail, and it's like, okay. So I literally just had this with me and was like, I'm gonna make sure that I mark everything and try to make other identifiers for myself so that I can make sure I get back. So you get that, and then you get just some other maps. I stopped at the visitor center in Kanab, and I got just maps of the wave, how to get there. Do this. All right. The permit costs about $7. It's not expensive, and you can do a permit to get your dogs with you. The dog permits obviously do not count out of the human permits, but I was like, it's kind of cruel to bring a dog out there. It's so hot and the water, and but if people like to go with like their German shepherds and have big dogs and stuff like that, so that's one thing. So yeah, the rest of this is just other stuff that I printed out on reading blogs. I found some really good blogs. I'll link those too in the description that gave you the coordinates for different water holes and just other things to see besides the wave. Yeah, this is the map I wanted to show. So I have printed this one out because it gives you sort of a trail, and I think this whole trail thing is like 5 miles or something, but it gives you all of the stops on the trail. And I marked out there was more than the wave that I wanted to see, right? They have a second wave. They have something called Top Rock. They have Hamburger Rock and the Alcove, the Hooters. There's all these different rock formations that are really cool that I wanted to see. So what I'm saying here is that from Kanab, Utah to the Arizona border of Paria Canyon, it is about a 1-hour drive. When you reach the border, you will make a turnoff onto the Wire Pass trailhead, where you will drive another 8.3 miles to a parking lot, and from there you can begin your hike to the wave. There is more than one way into the canyon, and you must indicate which trail you are going to use when you sign up for your lottery pass. So as you're driving within the canyon, you will go over 3 of these little bridge things. If you go past 3 and you don't see the parking lot, then you've gone too far because it's literally right after the 3rd one. And you park there. They have a sign-in sheet, which I thought I was a little nervous to fill it out because it's like, okay, people can see that you're just solo because you put, I guess you can make up that someone else was there with you for purposes of that, but anyhow, I was just kind of like, oh, someone knows that there's like a single person out there. But you sign on this book, you put your number, you put your license plate of your car. So if they come and they see that you're not back, they're going to start to look for you. And then you can begin your hike to get to the wave. And the wave is 2 miles in from there. So this is like deep. When I got to the parking lot, there were cars there. So, and I got there maybe about 11 a.m. is when I started. I got there a little later than I intended. But yeah, because you want to get there before it's like the high sun, which is around 2 or 3.
I'm on my way to Wire Pass Trailhead to get ready to do my fabulous hike today. This is my cute little rental. So cute.
But anyhow, I got there around 11, and there was this strange couple in the parking lot. And they were in one of those conversion vans that have no windows, like those commercial vans, but it was a very raggedy one. It's like one of those vans where somebody could kidnap you in the back. And the 2 front windows were so smoked out and so black. I was so nervous, and they were just staring when I pulled up, like staring. So I sat in the car to just watch what they were going to do. And the thing about it is, when you get to that parking lot, you can actually go to Coyote Buttes north or south. It's like the start of both. So people who go to the south, like, you don't need a permit to go to the south. Some people can park there, go to the south, and they're just hiking or whatever. And it's kind of like an honor system, because you could really just go into the north and hope that you don't get caught from a ranger who asks to see this pink pass. But yeah, so I was like, I'm sitting in this car until I watch what they do. They kept going from the van. They went to the book. They came back to the van. The girl's looking, he's looking, and then they had this giant dog with them too. They had like a big like German Shepherd type dog. It was about 15-20 minutes where they finally crossed the street and go onto the trail, and it kind of disappeared. And I was like, okay, they started their hike. Like, so I waited a little bit, and then a car pulled up with a group of 4 in it. And then I was like, okay, now, I'm going to move. So they were there getting ready or whatever. And one thing I will say, they always recommend for you to go with a guide. I tried to hire a guide, but I couldn't find anyone who was willing to do me as a solo person. They wanted me to pay for 2 people. And I was just not going to do that. Like, the prices for the guide was like $200. So I would have had $400 just to have somebody go with me. So I elected to, like, okay, I'm going to do this on my own. So, like I said, I did as much research as possible to prep myself so that I would not die or get lost or anything. And I think you really have to be diligent, because I saw this news story, I'm going to insert it here, of a guy who got one of the passes from the day before, just did the walk-in lottery, and he died.
Says the man died after becoming confused and separated from his 16-year-old son. And tonight, one couple says they saw that man face a split-second decision about this hike that they believe ended up costing him his life. This hike is known as...
It's really beautiful.
A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but also strenuous.
It is exhausting.
And there's very little shade.
The iconic wave in Arizona isn't easy to get to and just as hard to secure a permit for. Every day, the BLM does a lottery for walk-in permits at their office in Kanab.
When you do the walk-in, it's for the next day. And a lot of people had just woken up.
Rich and Michelle Crawford were one of the lucky ones to get a walk-in permit Monday morning. Well, on their hike on Tuesday, they found out...
He mentioned to us that there was a fatality yesterday, and we immediately knew that it was probably him.
They explained that on Monday, after the walk-in permit lottery results were drawn, a man and his son won a second lottery drawing.
He just said, this is rare. We have 2 permits that were given back or not used for the same day, and whoever gets these 2 for the same day has to go. And you can't use them for the next day.
That man, they say, is this person, identified by authorities as Christoph Pochik. The Crawfords say he wanted to make a phone call after winning, but was put on the spot.
He had to decide in that moment, with everyone waiting, whether or not he was going to go. Tough. Everyone wants it, it's a unique opportunity, and I think he was just trying to hope for the best.
And he decided to go with his son, they say, missing part of a crucial hike orientation.
He actually got up before the session ended, and said, "I really have to get out of here. I have a really hot hike ahead of me."
The couple says anyone hiking to the wave needs to leave early and spend time preparing.
In addition to water, you need salty snacks.
As they stood in the wave the next day, hearing the news of the death, they say they couldn't help but wonder if the last-second permit handout set Pochik up for failure.
It's not that they didn't explain it to us. I think just the situation, leaving at the time of day.
I don't really think it's responsible to let anyone leave and knowing that they're going to go on that hike at that time of day. It's just a bad idea.
The couple says the Bureau of Land Management is great about making sure hikers are prepared if they are hiking that next day. I spoke with the BLM tonight to ask about the situation. They say they cannot comment on ongoing investigations.
Terrible. So you really have to prepare yourself. That said, I started into the canyon. On my way in, I immediately passed 2 single men coming out, and I was kind of like, this is in the middle of nowhere. And this is why I say, in hindsight, I probably wouldn't do it again, because, you know, if it's someone who is sketchy or criminal or has some type of ill will, they can do some stuff to you out there. I mean, it's just space and opportunity. And, you know, the one guy, when he passed me, he was nice, and, you know, he spoke hello, hi. And so the second one, kind of same thing, but I was just like, I was hustling. I had a little counter with me, like one of those counters when people go to shows, and I was counting my steps in between each stop on the picture map. So I was writing my steps down: 1,660 steps, 1,432 steps to get to the second set, 658 steps to get to the next section. So I figured this would help me on my way back. Like, even though I couldn't retrace my exact path, if on the way back I'm on 2,000 steps and I'm not to the next spot, I know something's not right, you know. I did that along with taking like a number of pictures and marking down what it looked like, because everything out there looks the same, you know. So that's why it's really important to do that. Note bushes and note certain things so that you don't get lost. So those 2 guys passed me. I didn't see anyone else after that. And it was a lot of weird noises, weird bugs. I lived in Las Vegas. I've lived in the desert, I know, but like out there, it is another level. Things like this.
I don't know what animal that is, but that is loud. Crazy. Headed to the wave.
So it took me about, I want to say, an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to get to the wave. Is that right? Yeah, I want to say maybe like just under 2 hours or an hour and a half, because I kept stopping and taking pictures and having my mini photo shoots with my tripod. So I was doing that and just sort of enjoying myself. But I did want to make sure that I wasn't like in the dead of sun coming back in 4 p.m. So I got there. And the wave is honestly so small. It is like one little section when you get there, where it has the dip and this and like that's it. So my intention originally was to go to some of these other locations. I was going to go to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, and make like a circle. And once I got to the wave, because I hadn't seen anyone and I was feeling kind of like vulnerable, and I was scared that my water was going to like run out. So I was like, yeah, I'm just going to go back from here. So I get to the wave. I'm doing kind of like a photo shoot. Like I changed into a dress and did my makeup, set my camera on a tripod. And the thing about the wave is like there is almost like a wind tunnel that's created. And so I got maybe 10 pictures into my little photo shoot. And, oh, sorry, my phone was vibrating. I got like 10 pictures into my photo shoot. Sorry, this is work. See, this is the thing when I'm a project manager at a construction and I have a site going on right now and my general contractor was just asking me something for clarification. Okay, so where was I? Oh, right. So it creates like a wind tunnel. I got maybe 10, 12 pictures in and the wind lifted up my tripod, like lifted the whole thing up, blew it off the side of this little cliff down to the thing below, busted the lens on my camera and like messed up the mechanism inside the camera. And I was just like, really? Broke my camera. I was like, this is more expensive than the whole entire trip. And I couldn't take no pictures. So then I was just salty. Like, really? I'm not even going to get pictures now with me in it. Luckily, I sat there for like 15 minutes just kind of pondering, like, did this really happen? And after that, a couple wound up coming. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to stick with them. We kind of befriended each other. I took pictures of them. They took some pictures of me. And we stayed there for about another 20 minutes and then decided to hike out. And so we hiked out together. They were funny. The woman was like an attorney from upstate New York, and her boyfriend was too. He was an attorney in Seattle. So they were super cool, and we hiked out together. And it's a good thing because I feel like we had different paths, and we realized like we would have gotten lost going back out if we didn't have each other. Like things just looked different. So we hiked back out, saw 2 other people on the way out, and that was it. Like my total for the day were 2 guys that I passed, those 2 that I met at the wave, and then the 2 people who passed us on our way back out of the 20 that were in that side of the canyon for the day. And I hiked back out with them. I decided to actually go down another path that was much closer to, it kind of looks like Antelope Canyon, like this. So they have a section right there in Coyote Buttes. So I went over there. That was maybe like another 30-minute hike. Then I took some pictures and then 30 minutes back. But I was like much more comfortable with that because it was literally down one straight path that you follow. And so yeah, then I got back. It was probably like 4 p.m. And I drove back to Kanab, Utah. I had actually had the room for that next night, but I decided I didn't want to stay there. I don't like, communal type showers and things like that. So I just drove back to Las Vegas, stayed with one of my friends, and had another day and night in Vegas. So that is my story on the wave. Like I said, in hindsight, I would not recommend for a solo female traveler to do it. However, I did. So, you can too. And I'm sure I'm not the first. But I would just say if you go that route, to be very diligent and careful and just aware, Cell phones don't work out there. There was no service. So that's something too. It's like, you can't call for help. And you're vulnerable. You're vulnerable out there. Yeah, let me see. I don't think there's anything else that I want to share. But this was like so long overdue of me giving this information out. Oh, yes. One other thing I wanted to know. They give you your permit number. You have to leave this portion in your car. And then the other one you have on your bag. And you write down your license plate number, year, and the type of car that you have for that tag. If you go to the wave, enjoy. If you get in with a group, extremely lucky. I read that it can take people 3-4 years to get their name picked on the lottery because there are so many people across the world for 20 passes a day that make their applications. But it's not impossible. It's not impossible. So hope this was informative, and I'll get better with my vlogs. Thank you for watching. Subscribe.